Hey everybody, it's Andy's Free Guitar Chart Videos. Saturday morning lesson. We have a great chart today because it's my 499th chart, not birthday. Modal long cages, tri-pentatonic long chord shaped circles for long modal cages. And yes, this is going to be the subject of chart 500. So 500 is just going to be a cleaning up of chart 499. We look at 498. Pretty much we've got the same thing, except this up here we've got the diatonic fretboard for the long modal cages. Okay. And then 497. This was where it all happened. This is also new. We haven't discussed this, but this is the 12 keys up here and the modals. Okay, so the interesting thing about the 12 keys, there's some rules here to follow with the 12 keys. I really would rather not get into the 12 keys right here, but the way the 12 key works is, we'll explain it quickly, is the key equals the scale degree as counted in a major scale starting from the lowest playable note. So anywhere we build a pattern here off of this pattern, the lowest playable note would be the starting note down here, whether it be the lowest playable note in the cage or on the instrument itself or on the capo. So we get example, the E is the lowest playable note. So I'm going to put my capo on the E, that's where your fret nut is. E is the lowest playable note, and note number is 5. So let's say we're just going to start here. Okay, this goes away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strings we have up here. This goes away, and then we're just going to warp over these guys here. I got a quick way to do that. So there it is. Alright, now I don't know if I could sneak back over here. Not really, because we want to look at this. So we've got, what are we looking at here? We've got a long A box here, okay, that we've made here, because the pattern stack I used was a long pattern stack. So what we've really got is that just 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, root 2, and then warped up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. Okay, so that's what we've made. Now E is the lowest playable note, then the key, and E is the 5. So this is our E here. And what it is in our build that we made here, E is the 5th of the key of A. So you just go to the 4th of E and you have the key of A. So then root is the key of A. So that's how it works with the 12 key, determining the key numbers. So we got over here the lowest playable note in the long cage is the LPN and can have any of 12 numbers, root through 7 for the modals, and 5 flats. The flat keys form a pentatonic on the 2nd. So if E is our note, E is our lowest playable note, E is the 3rd of C, the 2nd of D, the root of E, the 7th of F. Okay? E is the 6th of G, the 5th of A, as we just determined, the 4th of B, the 3rd of C. But now do a pentatonic scale on the 2nd. Now we're going to look at the accidentals. Okay, we're going to start on the second degree and do a pentatonic scale, which is all of the black keys. Okay, starting from E. So it's a pentatonic scale on the second of a scale that starts from the lowest playable note, not from the dot scale. Okay, because if we do a pentatonic scale from the dot scale second, that's all we're going to get. We already got those keys. So now we're going to do a pentatonic scale on the second of a major scale that starts from the dot note, which is E. So it's going to be, E is the flatted seventh of G flat. E is the flatted sixth of A flat. E is the flatted fifth of B flat. For D flat, we've got the flatted third of D flat and the flatted second of B flat. So those are the other 5 keys: G flat, A flat, B flat, D flat, and E flat. So all that culminates to this list of keys here, and this is the string shapes. You know, as they would go up, you could start this anywhere, and with the guitar where you have the top and the bottom string have the same string shape, just 2 octaves away, but same string shape. Okay, same scale members. So let's go all the way up the 12 key pattern. Notice it doesn't drift anywhere. It goes over here, but then it goes back when it reaches 7 root 2 again. So we're going to start with E as the 7th of the key of F. So we're going to have a B flat there. So we're down here, starting on the E, we go 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root. Okay. Now remember one thing though. We're really not starting on the E, we're starting on, so we would want to put the capo on the E flat here, because we're starting at the key of 2. Now the lowest playable note is E flat. The second of E flat is F, is it not? The second, it's the key of F. Okay, that's how that works. 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6, then 7 root 2, then 3, 4, 5. Take that down to the string shape equivalent down below. Now we're here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2, 3, 4, long 5, 6, 7. Okay, that E being the 7th of the key of F, and then we're going to warp up to root 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6. Okay, now that's just going to take us to 7 root 2. Okay, so we go all the way up that. We just don't have a 12 or 13 string guitar to do that. So that's the crux of the 12 key. We're going to get to all this and chart 499 has a lot more than just this bass here. But these modals, Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian, okay, are cross-listed with the same thing going horizontally. So this is vertical substitutions. This is horizontally rolled out, and we use this. These are all diatonic scales here. So we've got our modals. We can use this chart 497 to look at this. Here's where our down-tuned G at C, where I'm down-tuned, and then the normal E tune fret nut where you're tuned. So I'm down-tuned here, root 2, 3. And then your fret nut starts on the 3rd, and the key of C is 3, 4, 5. Now fear not, that's just showing the guitar there, but we can call that 3rd the root. So if we go over to the Ionian scale, we could just go right here and call that third the root and just play 3, 4, 5. Rather, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5. Or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3. Okay. Third of E is that. So we also want to look at the 12 keys. So again, lowest playable note. If the lowest playable note is C, if we're down C tuned, or we just have the capo on a C. Okay. I happen to be down tuned, so my open string is C. But if you have the capo on a C, okay, let's make it easy. Capo on the G. Okay, so capo on the G, middle of the road. So root is G. If we got a G here, okay, it's the key of R, so it's the key of G. Because the E shape, E root 2, 3, right there's your E there. It's getting old, if, you know. That's it. Root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2, 3, 4. C is the fourth of G. Okay, now is that 7th and F sharp? Is that 7th and F sharp? Yes, it is. So that's how that works. And it transverses, it follows through in all 12 keys. So if we want to look at what, some crazy key like the key of 2 flat, okay, it's actually a Locrian scale. It's in maybe a Locrian box, a Locrian scale. So we want to put the capo on something that we're going to call the 7th. So if we put it on the E again, where your fret nut is, now E is the 7th. So obviously it's the 7th of F, so the key would be F, but just look how it works. The lowest playable note is the 7th. E is the 7th of what? E is the 7th of